Hey everybody, Dr. Oliver here for backintelligence.com, and today we're going to talk all about the glutes. We're going to talk about what can happen to them to make them not function properly, and then we're going to talk about ways to get them going again. If you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button so you can get access to videos as we put them out. So your glutes are on the back side. They're your butt, essentially, right? So we tend to see, and I tend to see in my practice, people have a lot of issues activating this area and actually using it properly. There's a lot of individuals that come to my office with low back pain, and they have very poor, if any, glute activation, especially on hip extension. When you extend your hip, you should fire your glute first and hardest. You should also use the hamstring and a little bit in your back. But if you don't fire your glute, what's going to happen is you're going to fire your low back more to extend your hip. So you can use your back to extend your hip, but it's a poor pattern. And what will happen to you over time is your back will get tighter and tighter, and eventually it'll hurt. So if you experience back pain when you walk, and after a long walk you feel your back is hurting, more than likely it's due to poor glute activation. So watch these exercises. Let's go through these different things and see if we can wake them up. So again, if we don't have good glute activation and we have low back pain, the simplest thing we can do is try to wake up the glutes and get them to do things. And it's not just squeezing your butt. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over some exercises now. We're going to start with some very simplistic ones, and we're going to move our way up. So essentially with these exercises, what we're looking to do, the goal here is to get the glute to fire. Again, your butt to fire on extension and not your back so much. The key is to get the glute to be the main driver of hip extension, and this can go a long way in reducing and preventing your low back pain. So the first exercise is going to be a really basic exercise to try to get us to activate our glutes in extension of our hip. Again, that extension is that moving back. Right now we're going to use a table for this. At home, I have a lot of patients use their bed. They can use a table if they have it as well, a coffee table, an ottoman. Whatever you can find or whatever you're at home, you can use. You're going to essentially line up to that object, and you're going to meet it right about here, right at the top of your hips. Find that little bony prominence there, and then you're going to lay down on top of it. So he's going to scoot his feet back. He's going to get that bony part right on the edge of the table here. He's going to lay down. He can cross his arms, or he can hug the table like he's doing. The key to this is not to use our back. Remember, we talked about we're using this too much. If you find yourself arched up, like you're not in a good position, you may even have to put a pillow under this area so you don't activate it. But all we're going to do is very simple, yet it's hard for some people, is you're going to take one leg and you're going to maximally straighten that leg and lift it up and see what happens. You should experience your glute max firing right here into extension. That's where you want to feel the dominant contraction. And then you're going to put it down and you're going to do the other side. Again, very simplistic thing, but a lot of people have difficulty activating this glute and not firing off their low back. You should not be feeling your low back engaging during this. If you feel a lot of low back tension and pressure, again, if you prop yourself up, put a pillow under so you're actually rounded a little bit more, it'll be more effective. You're going to go back and forth doing sets of 10. So 3 sets of 10 on each leg is generally a good number. This, again, is not super difficult for people. So I have most patients, I say, wear a pair of shoes. If you had ankle weights, it'd be great. Most people don't, but wear a pair of your boots or wear something that adds a little bit of resistance and a little bit of weight to that leg. So I'm going to have Leon demonstrate what would be wrong to do. So you don't want to really lift too high. What will happen is as you lift up, if you lift too high, you're going to really engage this low back and you'll feel it in your back. So you should recognize that's not right. You basically want to straighten that leg out, get it into an extension, feel that glute contract nice and tight, and put it down. Again, this is just about waking it up, making it do something. We're not totally strengthening it, we're activating it. So there's not a lot of resistance, but again, wear a pair of shoes. If you have ankle weights, great. A pound or two only on that would be perfectly fine. So again, get a few sets of 10 going on each side. Wake up those glutes. Use a bed, use a table, whatever you have at home. You can use a stability ball. I have some patients use. Whatever it is to allow you to stay relaxed in this low back. So the next exercise is going to, again, work on that hip extension, getting that leg out behind us. And what's that all about? Activating that glutes. The good thing is this exercise we're about to do right now also activates your core. So your core is a big stabilizer, right, for your pelvis and your low back. Well, if we can activate the core and the glute together, it's going to go a long way in reducing a lot of that back tension and pain you have. There's many ways to do the bird dog exercises. We're going to start with the simplest version first, which is just the legs. Because again, we start adding the arms in, we start adding movement into it. It could complicate it and it could have you activate your low back. So the key again is activating your glutes and not getting your low back involved. So Leon's going to go down all fours position. So hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. He's going to make sure he's not too arched down, not too arched up. He's going to maintain a nice tight position. He's going to tighten that core up, and he's going to do the same thing we did on the table. Now he's just going to extend the leg behind him, get that glute to fire up without his back really overly engaging, and he puts it down. So the key here is get a nice glute contraction. You should really feel that glute contract as you go back, and then put it down and repeat. So you're going to do each side 5 times. So a set of 10, you do 3 sets of 10 on this. It's important with this exercise, now that we don't have a table under us and we're really using our core to stabilize our spine, that we don't hinge, we don't go into that low back. So we'll have Leon demonstrate what you could do wrong. As you extend back, you see the back start to arch or use the back. It's very common to see people do a bird dog and really arch the back. That's not the point. The point is stability here. The thought process should be, think about touching the wall behind you. Don't think about getting the leg up in the air as high as possible. We're just trying to get that glute to contract. So again, you can amp this exercise up a tiny bit by adding, if you had ankle weights, great, or wearing a pair of boots or something that's a little bit heavier shoe wear. So again, we're just trying to activate that glute. Once we can do this, we can advance on to other forms of bird dog as well going down the line. So the next exercise we're going to do, another great exercise for activating the glutes, yet this is one I see people do wrong all the time. I have people demonstrate this exercise in my office all the time, and I always ask them, where do you feel it? And the majority of times, if they have back pain, they don't feel it in their glutes. They don't feel it in their butt. They'll feel it in their back or they'll feel it in their legs. So it's the glute bridge. You should feel it in your glutes. We're going to make this exercise easier as well by adding a band. So we're going to put the band around just above your knees, and you're going to push that band apart as you elevate your hips. And what that's going to do is force your glutes to do even more work. So I encourage people to try this exercise at home first before they remove the band. And do it for a few days, a week or so. But you really want to it's all about activating that glute. So pushing apart your legs, abducting your legs is another action of your glutes, and it'll help fire up and get the glutes to do more. You should feel 0 in your low back, and you really don't want to feel your quads either. It should be almost all glutes the whole time. So like Leon's doing, he can do some slow reps like this. You can do 3 sets of 10. Generally, again, we're just trying to wake up the glutes. One little thing I notice with some patients when they're doing the reps like this is that they tend to just stay up and rep it out. But what I want you to do is go all the way to the bottom, shut it off, and turn it back on. Because again, it's about the on and off of the glutes. It's about kind of activating them, waking them up. It's not really about strengthening it at this point. It's about getting your glutes to fire as you extend your hip. This is the same action we did in the other 2 exercises, just laying on your back. So again, it's all about hip extension, getting your glute to fire without your back engaging too much. And if you can do these exercises, then you'll be able to advance into harder exercises. And we have a lot of videos on different exercises for glute activation and getting things going to, again, protect your low back.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like it and share it with a friend. Also, research shows that strengthening your core area can help relieve some of that low back pain that you're feeling, but it's important to know which exercises specifically to do and how, and you want these exercises to be both effective and safe for your spine. And we have just the PDF for that. So if you'd like to get a free PDF of core exercises that are safe for your spine and are very effective, there's going to be a link to get them somewhere here on the video or down below in the description. Just go to that page, enter your email, and we'll send you that PDF right away.